Hi, I'm Haya Aklemi. Whilst I love a good filter, here's the thing. There are no filters in real life, let's be honest. This is real life, real people, and unfiltered stories. Together, we will inspire and help to change someone else's story. Welcome to Heartfelt with Hyatt. Grace, welcome to the Heartfelt with Hyatt show. How are you doing?
Good. I'm just happy, thriving, so I'm really happy.
And you're looking very good.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about who you are and what you do.
So I'm Grace Achieng. I'm a mom, first of all, and I'm self-employed. I'm a fashion brand, a sustainable fashion brand owner.
Are you wearing Grace Landic right now?
Yeah, I am.
You can see the quality coming through.
Oh my God.
Wow.
It's so
my goodness.
The best. It's like mulberry silk. It's the best.
Amazing. Yeah. I can't wait for us to get into it. Yeah. But before we do, I want us to play a quick game. Are you ready for a game?
Yay, let's do it.
I'm going to ask you a quick few questions on would you rather, and then you will tell me what your answer is. Would you rather be a worried genius or a joyful simpleton? A worried genius or a joyful simpleton?
Honestly, I don't want to be a simpleton. That's absolutely not, No. Simpleton, no, thank you, bye.
Would you rather always be right or always be wrong?
I would rather to always be wrong than always be right. Because if I'm wrong, then I keep learning, If I'm right, then, that's just, like you be there, listen, and grow. So
that's a good answer. I love it. I wanted to start off by saying, thank you so much for being part of this journey with us. And I know when I approached you, you were so forthcoming and excited, and also a bit like, oh my gosh, I'm ready to share my truth. So what would you want people to get out of your story before you start sharing?
What I want people to get out from my story is just resilience, keep going. It doesn't matter what people say. It matters what you say you are. Okay, I'm just going to be like all honest, and just because like this is my life, this is my story, and all my life I just didn't want to hurt anybody's feelings. I just always thought about like, okay, but now like I'm owning up to like who I am, where I've come from, my journey, my story, the way I want it told.
Let us know, where did this all start?
I'm born and raised in Kenya. So that's where I grew up. I moved to Iceland when I was 25 years old. So my story started in Kenya, and I just felt like I was such an unhappy child,
Okay.
I felt like things around me just weren't the way things were supposed to be. Like things were just, it wasn't right. Yeah. I was brought up in a very like a broken home, like in the sense of it was just chaotic, domestic violence. It was just to a point where like there were so many times when I thought my mom was just not breathing. I had an alcoholic dad, and just like at the same time, he was such a good dad to us. He loved us. He played with us, I just remember him just coming home and we would run to him, and we would just hang on his arms and he would swing us around. He was such a good dad. He loved us. On the other hand, my mom was very just verbally and just physically abusive towards us. In Africa, you don't really call it physical abuse. It's just how you get raised.
It's the culture, isn't it? It's they believe in it. Yeah. As a way to raise up a child.
At 6, running after my dad, he was traveling out of town, and I just ran to him. He was either traveling out of town or he was going to work, and I was running after him. And I told him, every time you leave, I feel like I'm going to die. So he knew, because it wasn't just me. Like I just remember this occasion where like my mom beat up my sister, like she was just motionless, and he knew that we were going through something, but he didn't do anything about it. Having an alcoholic dad, like most of the time they tend to just be selfish, not because they want to, but because like they're just addicted to their ways, like mom had to take care of us, mom had to pay the bills, somebody had to pay the bills, so mom had to do that. But when I was 6 years old, I remember I was playing, I was just like a veranda on our house where we lived, and my mom came out, and she just asked me asked me what I was doing there. She told me, if you fall and die, I wouldn't even buy you a coffin. I would just like dig up a shallow grave, put you in there and forget you ever lived. And what that does to your self-esteem, that just makes you feel so unwanted. I always knew that I was a very unhappy child, but then I think about 6 years ago, I went home to visit, and my mom told me something like, when you're a child, I used to think you are a witch. I didn't say anything, and I just asked why? What do you mean? And she said you would cry so much, and you would just be crying, going around the house. In my mind, I'm thinking, I didn't say anything because I was just shocked. In my mind, I'm thinking if your child is crying, don't you think that is that the first thing that comes into your mind? You think that they are witch,
Do you think that your mum could have possibly suffered from mental health?
This is what I'm leaning towards, Today I have so much understanding, and just so much compassion towards her.
Yeah.
With everything going on, she still had to take care of us, and she did that. Yeah.
So you were saying that you were there until you were 25. Did anything else significant happen while you were in your country?
Until the age of 14, I feel like I just had to keep my mouth shut. I just kept a lot of things bottled up, I was always labeled the bad kid, the bad child. Because I questioned a lot of things. This is things that you don't question. That got me in a lot of trouble, to a point where I just created a wall, and this is a wall that it has been my coping mechanism, it's really hard, it's really hard to talk about these things. And this is the first time that I'm just publicly So when I was going to high school, so that's 15 years old, I told myself that I was done being quiet, I was done, I was going to defend myself, I was going to speak my truth. But then that's where all the anger comes in, I was so angry. I was just.
And as a result of that anger, what did you do?
I got in fights, but I lost all the time because I was too angry to even see where I was, I wasn't aiming, So I got beat up a lot, and it's not their fault. It was just me thinking that I was being attacked, and, Sorry, I'm gonna drink.
You're doing really well.
There was this girl, I was so angry at her. She didn't even do anything, I remember the thing that I felt ganged up on, because I think we had exchanged clothes, and she'd come to get whatever we had exchanged. And I don't know why I didn't give it to her. And I just felt like she ganged up on me, and I just went on this blackout, and just shied at her, and I was hurt really bad, and I was just bit on the left, and I had this flesh just hanging up on me I have the scars here. I don't know if you can see it. I just remember being told, this guy was just being told, okay, now you're not beautiful, you are never going to be the same again,
And who said that to you?
My sister said that, I remember this incident also, where this woman, I was going somewhere with my mom, and this woman, she stopped us, and she was talking to my mom, and suddenly she looked at me and she said, wow, she's so beautiful. And that made me feel so uncomfortable, and made my mom feel very uncomfortable. I don't think she said
to call you beautiful.
Mm-hmm. And I just remember it was such an awkward moment,
But Grace, I'm struggling to understand, why would being called beautiful even be a problem? Why would you feel uncomfortable about that?
I hated being called beautiful because at home, like my mom would tell me, like, if I did something, then she'd just be like, oh, you did this because you think that you're better than us, or you think that you're better than your sisters, or you think you're more beautiful, you know? And I'm just thinking, I just don't want to be beautiful. I don't want to be these things. I don't want to be different. I know they make me out to be different. I don't want to be. I just want to be you. I want to be with you. I want to fit in. Like, I didn't feel like I fit in my own family. I felt so alone, like, in my life. I came back home and I went to our room, you know, and I was looking at myself in the mirror, just wondering, like, what is this woman talking about? Why did she say this? I think a few days later, I did it again. I took the mirror and I looked at myself. And I just feel like I had this moment of just, wow, there I am. And I'm beautiful, you know.
In your opinion, would you say that you were distinguishedly more beautiful than your siblings?
I don't know. It's so hard for me to say this, you know, because I didn't think that I was beautiful. I just didn't think that, like.
And it's almost as if beautiful became an insult, you know?
Exactly. And all this talk of being different, my mom, I think, just putting it out there in the air, I think it caused some friction, you know. Like, I remember my sister, she broke up with her boyfriend, you know. She beat me up because she thought I had something to do with it, you know. Like, I feel like when my sisters had like a breakup with their boyfriends, I could have been anywhere, like, but somehow I had something to do with it somehow. I came home one day and my mom was there, you know, and she was just standing at the door and just like saying something. She was so upset, you know, and just saying something. The only thing I remember her saying is like, oh, you know, you think you're more beautiful. You think you're beautiful, but you're not as beautiful as my sister. Her sister is deceased. And I'm just like, Mom, you've compared me to everybody that is living. And now you're comparing me to people who are like, and she just like, what did you say? She just got so offended that I said that, you know. She went and picked up a stone outside and she hit me here. I have this scar. I don't know if you can see it, you know.
Yeah, I can see it.
I don't want to go like too graphic into it. My sister was running with me. She took me to the nearest clinic, you know, and the doctor kept me there until my dad could come and pick me up, or you know. And I just thought that this is the day when I get taken out of this home, you know. And you know, like, my dad came in, reported to like the children's, you know, like whatever, and they would be like, no one would believe you, and they were just laughing at me. They wouldn't believe you, you know. And for me, I was just, okay, yes, finally, this is the day. And the doctor, my dad comes with my mom, and they completely fabricated something about me, you know. Like, I was so like just tone deaf. Like, I just was like, okay, anyway. Yeah, I just walked back home with them, you know, and just feeling helpless. I just remember like one Christmas day, just, you know, like this thing, it was kind of like in fashion for like kids to have like the same kind of clothes, you know. So like she just went and she bought like a fabric, she took to a tailor to make for us clothes. They all dressed up the same. So they were going to church. I didn't want to go to church and be the only one because my mom bought me some clothes from the flea market that didn't even match, you know. And I just stayed home and I just made everything ready for them, you know.
Grace, I'm so sorry to hear that. It couldn't have been easy having to face that level of rejection over and over again. How did you end up coping with it?
When I went to high school, this is one thing I told myself: I would have nice clothes. Like, I would save my money. Like, so I would have like transport money. Yeah. So I would just save this money. I would literally just run to school. Like, I would run like an hour and I would save my money, you know. So like I would go like and buy myself clothes, and I had really nice clothes, you know. And the thing is, like, it started out like people would just come to me and like my schoolmates, and just over the weekends, like they would just be like, oh my God, like I like what you're wearing. Like they would ask me to sell it for them for double of what I bought it for. I started like just going to the flea market, buying clothes, and bargaining, and I remember the first shoes that I bought, they were so nice. I remember just taking them home with me and, Mom, look at these shoes. They fit me. Look, they're so beautiful. And my mom's reaction was just like, take a good look at yourself and tell me if you deserve to have those kind of shoes, And then my dad came home and he asked me, oh, can I see your shoes? I heard you bought really nice shoes. And then I brought one side of the shoe and showed it to him. And he's like, wow, they're so nice. Can I see the other one? I just had a bad feeling about it. I went and brought the shoe. He took it and never saw my shoes again, Like constantly being told that you don't deserve nice things. And when you even try to get something nice for yourself, then they take it away, And for me, the thing that hurt me the most is like, I always speculated where my shoes went. My dad, he was home when he didn't have money. Every time he had money, he was never home. Like he would just go drink, be anywhere, So I just had a feeling that he gave it to whoever he was spending all this time with. And it hurt me, like you would do that to your child,
So Grace, you had at this point gone through a lot of trauma, a lot of rejection, a lot of pain from your family members who were supposed to love you. But it didn't stop there, You still had a lot to battle with. Talk to us a bit about what happened during the times where your mum used to kick you out.
I was just waiting to go to college, Like I was at home for 2 years, and then just like, this time when I was home, like they would throw me out, and just my clothes would just be thrown out like trash. I had to find places to live, and it's so hard when you don't have anything, and everybody's just trying to make ends meet. I just remember going to live like with this woman. I went to live with her, and she actually I feel like I got beat up a lot, so she lived somewhere in some slum, and she had like this neighbor. They liked each other, or they had a crush on me. I don't know. I was in town, and when I was passing by, I saw him there, and I said hi to him. I think I told, and she got really upset, and she just threw me out. I had these braids, and she just beat me up, and she just, so I feel like I got beat up a lot. And the thing is, like, being beat up, it's not about the physical thing. It's mental, like.
That couldn't have been easy. And I know that you said that your mum threw you out, but did you ever try to go back home and try to see how that would work out for you?
I kept going back home, like I would go back home, but my mom would always be like, why, who asked you to come back? Like nobody asked you to come back, but I had to go back. Like it was not safe being out there. Then I moved, and I went, I would always just try to find some place to live. I had low self-esteem. When you have low self-esteem, men will use you. They don't care, This is the first time that I told them something happened to me. I was raped, I felt like it was my fault. Like I did something to deserve it. And then the worst thing about it is that I found out that I was pregnant. I told this guy that this happened, that I was pregnant, and he asked me, and what? And I told him that I couldn't have the child because I needed to go to school, And he asked me, okay, and so what? And I had nowhere to get the money, for this procedure. I just didn't, I just made peace with it, and I decided I was going to have the child. I was at home. My mom would hide food, like I didn't have food at home. She would make sure that every time she left, she had everything locked, so I wouldn't have anything to eat. And my sister would come home, and she would come to me, you can't have this child. You can't, you've seen the things I've gone through. You cannot put your child through this, My sister took me there, and she was crying, I remember her taking me like to the clinic, and she was just crying, please, And so I went, and I had this procedure. So I had a very late abortion, and from this I was always called a murderer.
Where were you able to get the finance for it from?
It was just through some like a backward. It was really like so unprofessional, but you know, I just remember this room, just rustic room, just in the middle of no. I don't even remember where this place was. I just know it was so rustic. Everything was so old. It's like something from a horror movie, you know. I was called a murderer. Like this is something that I've lived with like for so long, like being called a murderer, you know. And
it's okay. It's all coming back.
Mm-hmm.
Grace, you know, I can't even begin to fathom, to imagine just what you were going through, you know. And thank you so much for sharing that with us. You were saying that shortly after that happened to you, you made the transition, you know, from home to Iceland. Can you share how that transition took place?
And at home, it was so difficult, like just being thrown out sometimes and just all these things going on. And I was just like, I've had enough. I'm going to the city. I decided I was going to the city. I barely knew anybody in the city. I was talking to like someone, you know, and it was just this boy, like really, you know, and he was just like, you know, you could come in and stay with me at my parents, you know, like, you know, so we weren't even talking. It was not on a relationship or anything like that. He was just this boy, and then he told me, you know, unfortunately, you can't stay at my place. You know, my mom, you know, but he said
after all of that,
yeah, but he said to me, you can stay at my friend's place. So we went, and we just landed in some slums. Like it wasn't even slums. It was like this village slums, you know, like out of the city somewhere, you know. The next day, there was this girl like in my neighborhood. We grew up together, and she got wind that I was in the city and got my number. And she was just like, hey, Grace, you can't stay there. I'm coming to pick you up tomorrow. Get ready, you know. I went there. And then like she was married to a Dutch guy, you know. So like this is the first time when I'm just seeing like a different kind of like life, you know, because honestly, I grew up in poverty, and that's just, you know, but the thing is like growing up in poverty, you don't even know that, you know, like honestly, like
you just think it's the norm.
Yes. So then I met this Icelandic guy, you know, and he came to Kenya. It was so weird, like it was so fast. Everything just happened really fast. He came to Kenya.
Yeah.
We got married, you know, but like we didn't even know we were getting married. Honestly, we just had this chance to get married, and we were like, yeah, let's do it, you know? And then a few months later, I moved to Iceland, and this is the best thing, like one of the best things, like that Iceland has been a healing journey for me, you know, like here I was taught to use my voice. I remember being asked my opinion in this country, and I was just like, who cares about my opinion? Like, why would they ask for my opinion? You know?
How long have you lived there now?
11 years.
And what's been the best part of your journey there?
To be honest, you know, I would say, you know, like being a mom, you know.
Yeah.
And also just raising in, you know, like my child in an environment where like I've learned a new way of parenting, you know, like,
yeah,
like this is a new culture. She's like the nicest kid, like God just knew, like this child, she's an angel, you know, like, so you think that you're going to have a child and take care of them. But for me, I feel like she's been that angel that was sent to me, you know.
Oh,
she's so
amazing.
kind, she's so sweet.
And Grace, tell us how your brand, Gracelandic, came about.
You know, like I call my business, you know, my brand, it's called Gracelandic, you know, but Gracelandic for me is just this journey of getting to know myself.
So the Grace is obviously you. What's the Landic?
Landic is my journey in the Icelandic community.
You talk to me a bit about how you now became a fashion designer, you know, because you talked about how you got into fashion because it made you feel good. Yeah. How did you translate that into Gracelandic?
I always knew I wanted to do something with fashion, you know, and also when I think back of these fashion shows that I was doing when I love to direct, but now I'm directing like girls, like showing them how to like model the clothes, like posing and all. So, you know, like everything just makes sense, you know, and being in high school and buying like going to the thrift shop and just buying these clothes, you know, and just dressing people and how it made me feel.
Isn't it interesting that how all these little bits amount to where you are now?
Yeah. You know?
Yes, amazing.
Exactly. You know, I wanted to do it for a really long time, but I couldn't. But there's a way, like there's always a way, like God just makes ways, like it was
Yeah,
fine,
that's it.
like the thing is like, I had like, I was working in this place. I wasn't really happy. Something happened where I was just pushed out, literally pushed out, And then I also had like, there's this money that I'd been waiting for, this insurance compensation that I'd been waiting for. This is where Gracelandic started, because for me, I've had so much fear in my life. Like I knew I was worth more. I just felt stuck. I didn't know how to do it. And every time I sat down to do it, like all these voices in your head that tell you can't do it. Like I had time because I was now like in work rehabilitation. I had the money came at the same time. And I had everything. Like so
just like a miracle, isn't it?
Yeah.
Where do you see Gracelandic in 5 years?
Honestly, it's an enterprise. It will be there, like even when I won't be here, and I'm gonna live a really long time.
Amazing. And who would you love to see wearing Gracelandic?
That's so easy. Like Meghan Markle, the Duchess of Sussex. I love that woman.
And knowing what you're like, you will make it happen, girl. If you could talk to your younger self, what would you say to her?
I just want to hug that girl. I want to hug the heck out of that girl and just tell her, like, I see you. I love you. I see you. Like, you're not alone, And don't look back. The past is gone, don't hold any grudges. Don't hold these things in your heart. They will hold you down. They will hold you back,
That's right.
Forgive, let go.
Now you have been impacted and hurt and betrayed, and, people have done really damaging things to you. What is your perspective on forgiveness, and how can you encourage others to get to that same place that you got yourself into?
People don't just come out wanting to hurt you. They really don't. They're either going through something themselves, It's maybe their own self-esteem issues that they're dealing with, and they're just projecting it on you. We need to create a culture of love, a culture of compassion, and just make this world a better place.
You are such an incredible woman, and just to see your progress, to see where you are, what an awesome lady you are. Thank you so much for joining me today at Heartfelt with Haya. I'm so grateful for your time, and I really do hope that your story will go out there and help, even if it's one person.
Thank you for giving me this platform and the limelight. Honestly, you're doing a good job. You're doing an amazing job. You also inspire me so much, honestly.
Thank you so much. And we're going to be chatting anyway, so speak to you soon.